Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's often been said that the challenges we go through in life, those mountains, those molehills, all of them prepare us for a better life. I know this guy can attest to that, and we're going to talk about all of that today. He is an amazing certified guide and companion on this journey. He's a life coach. He's also an author, a speaker, and he's going to help you navigate through life. If you're feeling like you're stuck, you haven't found your place, your purpose, let's dig into that right now. Judd Fink joins us on the program. Judd, welcome. How are you?
I'm really well. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. I'm gratified to hear that more and more people are finally realizing that life isn't the way they exactly think it should be or wanted it to be, but also realizing that, a life coach who is certified will work for me.
Yeah,
I need help with this, is where I'm going with that. You hear that
yeah,
from people?
yeah, I do. What I find is people just kind of get lost. They just don't know where they're going at times. They just have a lot of questions, but it's actually through these questions and, questioning everything is where the actual growth is because you're in an uncomfortable place. If everything was comfortable, what would be the point of growth? And I just love, helping people. It's certainly my purpose. And there's a lot of questions that come up during the process of helping people in my coaching where traumas they've experienced or just challenges that they've faced and how they've built themselves up or torn themselves down because everything that we actually tell ourselves is absolutely true, positive or negative.
It is so true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
What makes you radically different, and by the way, your website is spiritualpathcoaching.com,
Correct.
is along with being a certified life coach, you're also aware of this thing called energy. And
Mm-hmm.
you're connected with energy clearing and Reiki. For me, that is the perfect combination. There's lots of great life coaches out there for sure. But when you combine the energy aspect of it and put the
Yeah.
two together, it is like the secret weapon, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I get a lot of when I do Reiki or energy clearing or anything, it's just using the abundant energy that's around. We're all connected. Everything is connected. And I just get a lot of messages, images, clairaudient, like in my mind. It's just the coolest stuff. And it's just being open to it. And I'm not anything special. Anybody can do this stuff. I'm just the open pipe, for spirit to use. But I'm just in tune with it. I've had gifts my whole life. And now it's, the last couple of years, I've actually been using them to help people. So
You
yeah.
feel, are
Yeah.
you intuitive?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So,
Which also adds to what you do because, and correct me if I'm wrong,
mhm,
but when you start working with somebody, having a sense of intuitiveness, and
mhm.
I believe that all of us have a level. Some of us are more tuned into what we've got inside than others, but
Yeah.
it's almost as if you've got a running start when you work with somebody because you're feeling what
Mhm.
they're dealing with, they're feeling. Maybe you pick up on some of their traumas before somebody else may, so that you can help them even faster.
Absolutely. That does occur. It doesn't always occur though,
Sure.
because some people are very blocked and all that. And then there's some little more work to do to get in there.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
But yeah.
I'll give an example. Whether you believe in psychics or not, I do. Many of them are fantastic. There are some that
Mhm.
say they are, but they're not. I have a
Yeah.
friend that just went to a psychic, and I'm not saying you're psychic. I'm just saying the intuitiveness.
Right. Right.
Went to a seminar yesterday with her bereavement group. So they've all lost their spouses along the way in the last few years.
Mhm.
And she was sitting with two other women, and one of them got read, and it was like spot on. She was giving me
Yeah.
examples. It was actually pretty cool.
Mhm.
Names, details, validation there. The other two, herself included, didn't get read. And
Mhm.
I know she didn't get read for one reason. He's not open to it. He
Yes.
doesn't want to be read. It's been 2 years since he passed. He doesn't want to be read in public. And I think deep down inside, if somebody started throwing stuff to her, she'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'll listen." But she was
Mhm.
closed down. Just to your point, she
Yes.
already said, "I didn't even want to go to this thing. I don't want to get read."
Yeah.
So if you're not open to it, and you're not open to the changes in
Mhm.
hiring a life coach, don't do it. It's
Yeah.
not gonna work.
Absolutely. You've got to be ready for it. You've got to be just open to whatever, you got to be ready for the help. And if you're not, it's not going to work. I don't care who you go talk to,
Sure,
you know,
totally.
and like, I love the people who come in who are just ready and open and stuff. But I also love helping the people that, need a little bit prying open as
Hmm.
well, because those are the people that really just want to grow and get on a track of some sort, you know. Um, and it's just, I'm just super open to everyone, I just want to help everyone. But I don't necessarily have an ideal client because, you know, I'm just so open to it. Yeah.
Let's talk about your past. How
Yeah.
your journey got us to where you are now, where you are helping people.
Yeah. So how I grew up, so when I was born very, very ill. I was born blue with a bunch of infection. And I guess from the story that I was told, that I actually passed when shortly after I was born. And so clearly brought back because I'm sitting right here right now. And then from my earliest memories of like intuitiveness or any type of ability was around like 3 or 4 years old, where I would have premonition dreams. And literally the next day or following days, um, it was word for word, scene by scene, person by person, from a very young age. And that's just followed me throughout my life. And also being connected to spirit like that, you are like a beacon for the energy of the people who have passed. So even growing up like that, like getting messages I've seen, I've heard, I've gotten, third eye images in my mind. And that was terrifying being a
Mm.
young kid, and trying to interpret that stuff. But then like throughout life, the journey, it goes up and down because you're trying to grasp what's actually going on, you know. And so sometimes you're more open, sometimes you're not. And actually, also everything that happened from a young age, like the me being ill and pulling through that, and then also how I was raised with my mother and father. My father actually left when I was 3 or 4, but my memories of him were, the first memory I ever had of him was actually his knees buried in my mom's chest, choking her. Okay. And you go one way or the other. You keep going in that cycle, or you do the complete opposite. And I went the complete opposite route. Um, so my mother was actually clearly abused, got out of that. Um, and then she met my stepfather later on down the. Well, my stepfather, you know, was also going through a divorce, and my mother just wanted security. And so they found each other, but not the healthiest thing at the time. But like attracts like. They're just wanting comfort and and security in each other, and they found that. Well, my stepfather is a major in the army at the time, so he's very, very strict and structured, and I'm just a 9-year-old kid at the time. And then he wanted to move us about an hour away from where I grew up in Streeter, Illinois. And I was a straight A student. He's very structured, and the abuse occurred because of my grade suffering after we moved, and me also trying to process this, like these gifts and all that, all at the same time. So because I wasn't meeting his standard is and
Mm.
and so I was afraid to be at home all the time, you know, and I was just trying to figure things out. So then, and my mom let all that occur because she just wanted that security. And so then in that process as well, grades are suffering. I don't know how to act. I don't know what to do. So I tried to focus on sports because my mind is just racing anyways, right? So sports are really fast paced and I can keep up with it. And so I got really good at football, baseball, basketball, track, all that stuff. Really gifted. But I did that realizing that I just wanted acceptance, from somewhere.
Hmm.
And because my stepfather actually played baseball at Illinois State University here and was drafted by the Cardinals, but he went to college instead. But just through the process of life, how I'm just seeking outside of myself, right? Because I'm just grasping, trying to hold on to whatever at that time. And then, it led to drug abuse, alcoholism. Like from a young age, I started using drugs when I was like 13 or so. Then that led into, selling drugs, starting to sell drugs when I was like 15, and just this spiral because I'm just lost, and and then, I met my eventual wife, held on to that because I was insecure, in myself when should have moved on, but we're all learning, we're all learning here. And, and through that, I actually became I became a mechanic. I don't know, even know, I can't explain how that even happened because I was never throughout high school, like never had any desire. I ended up getting a job, starting at the bottom. And within a couple of years, I was like one of the lead mechanics at this point. Yeah. And
Wow.
just really took to it, and I used that skill for the next 20 years after that. And was never comfortable there. Always questioned my ability. Was I good enough? All those things. But all those things were implanted in my mind, in my subconscious from a very young age, where I was abused, isolated, trying to function. And, the not good enough, not worthy of love, just all these things, just based on how I was raised. And I think a lot of people actually go through, implanting, well, everyone has subconscious beliefs based on how they were raised,
Oh,
positive or
you
negative.
you illustrated there, and thank you for your honesty
Yeah.
and transparency. And
Yeah.
um, pieces of your story are also my story. So it's
Yeah.
like we've all been through stuff. It's interesting how even as not even in your teens, a
Hmm.
boy, you saw things like sports.
Hmm.
My mind is moving fast. Let me see if I can physically move fast. Let me gravitate over to sports.
Hmm.
Um, and it sounds like you were going through traumas then,
Hmm. Even during that time. Yeah.
even during that time. And then what
Mhm.
happens in adult life? We take those traumas with us. They're in
Absolutely.
us, and we're still acting like a child, even though we're an adult. When
Hmm.
I say acting like a child, you're reacting to adult situations as you would have as a kid because you don't know any
Absolutely.
better. What do I mean by that? Picking the wrong relationships, even though inside it's screaming like, "That's a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it." I've
Yeah.
been there, done that. But you do it because it seems like that it's okay. It's going to be okay. You
Yeah.
should move on. But
Absolutely.
this is where you come in to help people recognize those traumas that they've experienced and kind
Hmm.
of dissect them, unpack them, and get them ready to move even forward past all of that. Because if you're holding anybody that's holding any of that stuff from there, and we all went through stuff, even if it wasn't intentional, even if it was just a phrase that we heard our parents say wasn't even for us, but we internalized it and felt
Yes.
that it
Absolutely.
was, you got a block up. And now you're living life and you're not living the life you want to live as an
Right.
adult. So that's where you come in to help somebody find that. Um, how do you do it? Now, for me, um, I took a leap of faith and did hypnotherapy. And
That's great.
it seemed to be okay. But then I found Reiki. Then I found energy clearing. Then I found all
Yeah.
that other stuff. And I'm going to tell you, that's in the last 2 years.
Oh, really?
My
That's great.
journey changed was 3 years ago, and I've always been exposed to the metaphysical world, helping people market it. This thing called
Yeah.
Reiki. I heard that word when I was 17 and was like, what the heck is that? I
Yeah.
knew sort of about it, but I never jumped into it. And I guess it's what they say, the teacher shows up when the student is ready. So it showed
Yeah.
up for me in doing podcasts with people like you. And then I realized, wait, let me do this. So when you're helping somebody figure it all out, connect the dots, I like to say, to their childhood, how do you do that? Is it by talking with them? How do you analyze the situation?
Well, it actually kind of just goes into some sort of flow. We have a conversation, or the conversation leads into Reiki or breath work or whatever. Like just a meditative journey. I'm a shamanic trauma healer as well. So whatever works for them, whatever they're comfortable with, whatever they're comfortable with sharing. And it's through actually my vulnerability and authenticity and telling my story to them
Mm,
is where it's where people can open up more, you know, and
totally.
it's just that absolute exchange and trust. And, because I do love everybody and I want everybody to get better. I want to help everyone that I can. So if I can do that with an open heart, then I believe that's the key to all of it, like,
I really think half of it is knowing you're not alone. Like hearing your story
absolutely.
is like, my parents got divorced. They said even before I was born, they were getting divorced. As I later
Yeah.
in life learned, I know it was, at an early age, but I found the paperwork, after both parents were no longer here. I saw the paperwork. Oh, well, they were already working on it then. Never knew that.
Yeah.
Um, so we're not. I went on a retreat last weekend, and it was a men's retreat. Just a
Yeah.
lot of the same stuff we're talking about, and it's like 350 guys, and from all over the world, hearing their stories. So it's
Yeah.
like we're not alone. You are not alone in
You are
this,
not.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's that authentic connection that you realize on things like retreats and stuff like that,
It was a leap of
where,
faith. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
I'm not gonna tell you. It was. It took me some time to. Well, I take that back, Judd. It was. I joined this group, and they said just the yearly thing is coming up in 3 weeks. If you want to go. I accidentally said yes, and they said once you commit, you got to go. And I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
all right, give me the website. Let me sign up. And I signed up that night, and it was a little weird at first, but then I realized that this is a good thing, and there was a lot of takeaways from it, and it was long days. It wasn't party time. It was it
yeah,
it, it was interesting, but it was worth it. And so is coaching. Having a coach in your corner to walk the journey with you, and questions that people might have, and all of that. How does it start with you, Judd? The whole process, if somebody wants to at least learn a little bit more about what you do.
Well, it starts with a consultation first, and then seeing like what they're open to. And I'm going to be totally honest with them. If like I don't think I'm the best one for them based on where they're at, because like it's not a knock on me or anything. It's just where they're at and what they're actually open to. And I hope that they go find that person that can actually help them, you know,
Sure.
and based on where they're at in their life. But it starts with a consultation and just, you know, exactly that, seeing where they're at and what they're willing to, talk about. And just in that moment, because you can certainly gauge where someone's at, in just based on a short conversation. It doesn't take long, but
Sure.
like that's exactly where it starts. It starts with a conversation and then tuning in, being intuitive, and that is just okay. You're not ready right now, but I do want to help you. So, you know,
Yeah.
just guide them from there. Yeah.
And it's a relationship. It's
Yeah.
call it somewhat of an intimate relationship because people share
Hmm.
things with you so that you can understand what they're going through, what they went through, so that you can better help them. If you could look back, and I think you would agree, everything we do is a learning experience. Things
Oh my gosh.
are put in your way. so you can learn to navigate those things and do life better and potentially help others. If
Yeah.
you could do anything different, if you had the opportunity in your life, what do you think it would have been?
In the past,
Yeah.
in my past, not anything, because it made me who I am. But I wouldn't change anything about my past. Everything that's happened to me is actually truly a gift. It's everything is an opportunity to learn and grow from, no matter what happened. You know, um, and when you're able to look at things like that, man, it. So what, what happens in your future? You're ready. You know what I mean? Like everything benefits you, no matter what it is. You're always learning, open to learning, and growing. Like yeah, everything is a gift, man. It really is. You know.
I want to share one thing from the retreat that I
Mhm.
heard. And it was, we talk about our parents, and our parents did the best they could with what they had.
Absolutely.
But
Yep.
there was a section, because it's men, forgiving your father.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's, maybe he didn't do this, maybe he didn't do that. He did this, he did that. But instead of looking at it and saying, why, say thank you.
Exactly. Yes.
Say thank you. Because
Hmm.
that got you here where you are, moved you
Hmm.
forward, whether it was his intent or not. It
Hmm.
made you a stronger person. And I don't mean just men and their dads, just in general. Your parents.
Yeah.
Say thank you. They were doing the best they could with what they had.
Hmm.
And we're not. I don't know if you're a parent, but we're
I am. I have one
same,
son. Yeah.
same,
Yeah.
same. And we don't have a manual, so
No.
we do the best with what we had. And what are we doing? We're doing the best with what our parents had and what we were given, and their parents were given to them. Um, So you have to look at it that way. You can't change it, so look at it as a positive. All of that. I don't mean just the parent thing, just life in general.
Yeah. Life in general. Absolutely. You know, it's we can only act from the information that we're given wherever we are in our lives at that time, you know,
Sure.
based on our own experiences. There's nothing outside of that, where you're just going to have this boom moment, like just if you in a rut or whatever. But just through the process of life, it's all about learning, man. Like I love
Yeah.
it. It's all about learning. Like and things as you walk your path too, you'll be presented with things, to grow. With it's up to you, you know, whether you want to do that or not, though. Where do you want to change? Are you conscious that you want to change? You know, and you're going to be presented with challenges and all these other things. But once you actually start to look at things differently, the things that you've been looking at change, you know. So,
Final question today.
yeah.
Picking your brain on this one. Do you feel that we all have the answer in us? Any
We're,
any question, any situation. I got to make a decision today, A or B. Well, which one do I do? You know the answer. It's in here. The challenge is finding the answer, and the
yeah,
challenge is getting rid of the clutter and all the stuff in your mind so you can just pick the answer because it's your
yes,
inside is saying, yeah, this is the
yes,
answer.
yes,
Yeah,
it's trusting your intuition,
right.
what it is, and moving forward and just trusting that it's going to work out. Trust yourself, trust that, trust how you feel in your body, trust, you know, just trust in source because you are part of source, the universe. And
Mm,
you get this information, and that is your intuition. Trust everything, inside of yourself.
yep,
Once you're able to clear your mind, man, like there's no information that you can't get, you know?
100%. Damn, I know the answer. I don't want to pick it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's
Even
scary. It's
right now,
scary, right?
even right
Yeah.
now, things are going in my head. I'm like, I know that's the right answer.
Yeah.
It's not the answer you typically want, but
Right.
it is the right answer because
Yes.
based on everything that's going on around you. I love the name of your business and your website, spiritualpathcoaching.com, right?
Yeah.
Says it
Yes.
all. Says it all.
Yeah.
And side note here, when some people hear the word spiritual, they think religion. We're not talking about that. We're
No.
talking about well, you explain real quick.
Yeah. Well, everything is the same energy. If religion works for you, then it works for you. That's
Sure.
great. Nobody's wrong for what they believe. It's all the same energy. I don't care what you name it, and it's just overall spirituality. I just wherever someone's at doesn't matter. That's why there are all of these different belief systems, because we get to pick and choose what we want to believe. We get to define our beliefs. We can pick little pieces of this one and little pieces of that one. I don't like this. That doesn't resonate with me. Doesn't matter. We get to define every bit of it for ourselves,
Yeah.
So,
And that's actually the cool part. You can
yeah.
custom design the way you want to think and what you want to align with. Judd, great talking with you today.
Yeah. It was great talking to you too.
Super
Thanks.
cool. Website is easy. Again, spiritualpathcoaching.com. Start the conversation, change your life. It's all there. And looking forward. Next time we get together, maybe we can dig deeper into energy cleansing, clearing, and Reiki and all that.
Yeah. Sounds great, man.
Awesome. All right. Thanks. We'll catch up soon.
Okay. Thanks. See you.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.